Newsangl, bitch.
Look at D. Don't turn sideways. Look at this. Are those cans in your shirt?
Yeah, cans of Waterloo. I'm just being an idiot.
Oh my
cans
God! I can't get out of here.
Delicious ass Waterloo.
Oh, well, hello, D, and it's your girl CJ.
And it's the person with the real boobs, Randy.
Oh my God! Brandy, you might have to speak up just a smidgen. Just
We're
a
having a boob off.
A boob off.
Not a boob off.
Bet you my fat ass will win.
Oh no! Winner is D. Welcome back, y'all. It's your low brown news for the week. There's some shit going on out here.
I'm sorry, we have to just start off now that we're on level 10 of Jumanji about these
Yes. What are we starting off with? We starting off with the Hornets. I figured.
Have you seen one of them niggas that they pay rent?
Yes, the motherfuckers is as big as that damn can I had in my shirt. They're like this. And they look mean. They have eyebrows that are like mean.
They got a face that look like they got a Spider-Man mask on. And then them niggas like 2 inches or something. The guy that had one on his shirt, I promise you, it looked like some like Betsy Johnson, but that's
right.
You know, like it looked fake because she likes to do insects.
Do you know these Hornets are 1.5 to 2 inches long on average?
You know what they do to kill bees?
They fucking take their head off, dude.
I saw a whole graveyard of bees, nigga. And there was only, this is the crazy part, the guy that was trying to figure out how this happened to his hive, or I don't know what you call that when they're harvesting them.
A apiary?
I know
apiary is what it's called.
But he was trying to figure out who killed his niggas, his killers bees. And so he looks in there and he takes a picture and they're just all with their heads off. And I'm like, what type of demonic insect just decapitates a whole family?
A Japanese hornet.
Honey, right. This is very appropriate for you and your people. What the fuck?
Wait a minute.
What? So do they eat the bees or do they just kill them?
They just kill them. So what happens is they're colonizers, basically. They go to where the land is fruitful. They kill the honeybees that already made the hives and they take the hive over as their own. That's what they do.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
Christopher Columbus of insects.
Christopher Columbus of insects. But so what's crazy about it is, how does Japan handle that with their agriculture? Because of course you need the bees.
So here's the thing. So this is what I was actually getting into. Thank you. Because in Japan, although they talk about it, it is not like predominantly like, how do I word it? It's not something that's been in the news where they're like, oh my God, killer hornets. I feel like they're blowing it out of proportion here. I don't know, because they've only seen it in Washington State so far, I believe, right?
Yeah, they found 2 hives because where the guy found all his bees dead, that was one area. And then they said further off, they found another one. So they're probably sensationalizing a lot of it just because I guess it's one thing for one place to be used to it, and then it's another thing for another country who's not used to it. Then
I mean, it'll freak people out if you were to see it, I'm sure. But I've seen those hornets on Japanese TV, like as a show where they were like taking the hive down. Like some guy was like spraying that bug spray stuff and taking it off out of a tree. They would go into trees and start hives and things like that too. So for me, I was like, oh, it's a Japanese hornet. And then I turn on the news and it's like, everybody's talking about it. And I was like, I didn't realize it was such a big deal. I think maybe they coupled it up with the fact that the bees are dying here already anyway. And then this is just another problem that's like adding to the bees dying. You know what I mean? And that's why it got sensationalized.
It seemed to be more of what the angle they were going at, not so much another thing the government's trying to kill us with. Yeah. Being like, hey, we kind of need these bees, so...
Well, you know, if the bees don't pollinate, we have a problem. I mean, there's, you know, manual pollination, but you can only do so much with just humans. Right. It's not enough. Like, we need the bees to do that. Because if not, we won't have veggies and fruits and all this other stuff that's, you know, plantation, basically. But segue into our food situation, that's a great place to start. Meat factories are shutting down. Certain Wendy's locations have announced that they are taking burgers straight off the menu. They will only serve chicken.
Why are you laughing?
Because D's like, what the fuck? Listen,
it's funny because
okay.
it's like Wendy's is like, we're known for burgers and we're just not gonna have burgers.
But here's the thing. Okay,
it's
Wendy's
funny.
just did this drive-through free chicken nugget thing like a week or two ago. Yeah, do you remember that? Did you guys see that? They were giving away free pieces. And then right before all of this craziness, everybody was going crazy for chicken sandwiches. Yeah, Popeyes.
No, let's be clear. We were going crazy for one chicken sandwich.
I mean, yes, but
which was crazy because Chick-fil-A been the GOAT for the chicken sandwich.
I know, but you know, Popeyes had to come in.
About that
I did not, by the way, go do anything with Popeyes at all.
It's delicious. Do it.
I mean, I might try, but here I don't know if I want to eat it though.
I felt a way about trying to eat it like right in that moment, and
I waited.
Of it. I didn't have one until like 3 weeks ago.
Okay, but is anybody bothered that they're pushing chicken right now? No? Is it just me? I feel like they're pushing chicken.
That's one.
Shut up.
Two. I get the angle you're talking about, but to me, hasn't like all our food always been fucked up? Haven't they been?
Yeah, but I feel like it's heavy on the chicken.
Very heavy.
And we've been saying that that's the reason all these kids talking about I'm 8, but they look like LeBron size. They'd always say it was the chicken. They think something put it in chicken because the chickens are huge. Chicken breasts, they look like mine.
Any reason, huh? Any reason.
Right.
Any reason.
Like trying to get the clicks, girl.
But like, no, for real though, because you know, there's sellers like chicken like product people that make their selling point by saying they don't use hormones or they don't use, you know, other chemicals in their chicken. That means that most chicken that are not labeled organic have some type of hormone. And you know, I've seen the videos where they fill it with that fucking liquid to make it more plump and all kinds of crazy shit. Like more than just red meat. D, hold on, you're frozen.
This has to do with the government possibly. Oh no.
Say that again.
Am I
You were frozen.
So do you think that has to do with the government acknowledging, or maybe not even the government, but just people acknowledging that cows, producing beef takes a lot of energy to do so, and it also causes a lot of pollution. Do you think that's...
No, I really think it just has to do with the fact that there's not enough people working out there right now because everybody's shelter at home. And I think, well, part of it is that energy, meaning manpower. They don't have enough manpower to run it. Because some of these, I was just looking at, Tomo had posted on Facebook that he went to his local grocery store and they didn't have any fresh meat there. It was all packaged and processed. The whole cooler.
I have to kind of go across town a little bit. Not all the way. It's like 15 minutes out. But I go there to get fish and stuff because there's just none over here.
It's so weird. Like, I guess I didn't really notice until I saw the article because I usually buy vegan and it's very rare that I buy like actual meat. So I do once in a while just for fun for the family who love to eat meat still. So, but like, I don't know. And now the vegans are worrying though. I've seen so many posts where they're like, oh my God, they're going to start taking our food now. Because during the beginning of the pandemic, all those pictures, and even myself took a picture of all the meat places being like completely empty, all the shelves, but then it would be like one section of the vegan meat still there. And I'm already
guilty of that because I've been fucking up some vegan meat the past few days.
But it's good though.
Like, a lot of the patties, like, because I buy in bulk. So I'm going to take all 4 boxes. I want all of the black bean quinoa burgers.
Those are so good.
But like,
it's so good. I didn't even have to add nothing to it because you know how black folks are. We like, let me add a little something. I ain't even have to add nothing to it. It was perfectly spiced. I don't know.
But that's what I mean though. So now I'm just like, is there going to be, is their next step telling us that there's a food shortage?
Well, we've already said this, what we believe as far as certain TV shows and movies basically showing us what something could potentially be. Whether it's us, like you said, with all those elites kind of killing themselves, that could even be a metaphor. Hey, for you businesses that are used to being at the top, you might have to take each other down because there's only going to be room for so many of you while we're shifting things financially from a higher place that doesn't even involve us. Or even just something as simple as Dee was saying, the Hunger Games. That first movie literally freaked me out because I'm like, that looks like it could happen.
Yeah.
I feel like that could
Creepy
be
as fuck.
very real. Like you're fighting for food for your district and kill or be killed, and then y'all get food. Between that and how they do the purge, girl.
I'm saying, I don't know if that is something that will come to fruition or not, but it's a little scary for me as well.
For those people that believe in the population and the Georgia Guidestones and all that, that's another way to get rid of people.
It is a really fun way to get rid of people. Let's make a holiday out of it.
No, not a holiday out of it.
Yeah.
Jesus, my child is crying. I'm sorry.
If the purge is real.
She's fine. She just wants a hug. Come give me a hug. Y'all keep talking.
No, if the purge is real, I'm going to get a U-Haul and we're going to Best Buy and we're getting new equipment for all of us. You guys can stay locked down. Leave the job to me.
No.
And yeah, I'll be shipping that out the next day.
I don't know if it'll get to that point per se. I think they're going to be more tactful because there's way too many people. Because if the people decide to like rise up, then they would have no control over it. You know what I mean? Like even if they took all the military people in one place and took them down, that there's still more citizens versus military. And you know, if you came to Texas, everybody's fucking armed down south. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like, I don't know, 5-year-olds shooting better than some of these niggas out here. So I'm just saying, like, this is not the state to be playing with. Also, like, Texas is one of those states that can secede, so you never know. But I really think it would be a more tactful thing like the 5G, possibly being, you know, that they would be able to reach into your pockets per se with your cell phones and things like that. Knowing, I mean, we talk about it all the time where we're like, oh, we want some green tea, and then the next thing you know, there's green tea ads that I'm probably going to see now because my phone's next to me, pop up on Instagram and Facebook. And I actually saw a post the other day on Facebook where they were like, you know, if you go to the ad tracking off activity, you can see what apps they track you on. And I looked at mine, it's pretty much every single
I was like, it needs to be every app because there's so many things you have to allow them to do before you can have the app. I almost want to even say even my Navy Federal app was like, do you allow blah, 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 and woo, woo, woo before they could install it? And I'm just like.
No, what I'm saying, though, is Facebook is tracking the app info from the app. So Facebook has your Chase app or your Chrome app.
That I can do.
You know, and here's the thing, I went to turn it off, and then when I went to say turn off, they would say anything that's connected to Facebook, which half my apps are, because that's how you log into half the things, you know. They made it so easy, just log in with Facebook and like not thinking about it. It won't be able to use it.
You can't even it comes already on the phone.
Right.
You can't uninstall it. Let's talk about that for a second. Any app I can't uninstall, that's low-key a problem.
Right.
Like, I'm surprised more people aren't bothered by that because the first time I noticed it like a year or two ago, it's like, what you mean? Because what I would do is I wouldn't have the app on there and I would just go through like
the website.
And you can't do it now. I got a new phone and it was already on there. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And sometimes if you try to go to the website, like a desktop website from your phone, it'll redirect you to either the mobile or app or something. It's crazy. It really is crazy. But like, you know,
log in and download the app. That's what you meant, right?
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, all these things I feel like are intertwined. Whether it's like the food thing, like I know Dee's laughing, but like if Wendy's doesn't have burgers, like what the fuck? You know what? My child overheard me talking this, my 4-year-old, and she goes, if they don't have cheeseburgers, we can't go there anymore. I was like, I don't.
She's like, because there's no point. Smart.
And then she called them on her play phone and asked to speak to a manager.
That's calling on the fake phone to go off.
She did. I have a video. I might post it on my TikTok, possibly. We'll see.
I had to put PJ's hacking video up because that just had me.
Oh Lord, I'm scared.
Veggie Nation.
I mean, maybe we'll all just like eat vegetables and stuff. I don't know.
There's a restaurant here called Veggie Nation. They have a really good black bean burger, and I will be tearing that up.
You know what I want to try is that like PJ had me watching it on YouTube, but they were trying like the vegan meat against real meat, and there's some super burger, and I don't know what it's called, but that shit looked amazing.
Oh,
even the drippings from it.
The Impossible Burger?
Yeah.
Don't do it.
It looks so good.
Don't do it.
Why?
There's a whole bunch of stories behind that. Just like YouTube it.
No, you're gonna tell it now because you're crushing dreams, bitch.
I'm sorry. So there is a rumor going around that says that it's not all plants, that there may be some human pieces in there.
I was just going to say, what is how did I know? I swear to God, I was about to say like babies or something.
You know who else talked about it too? Like I saw it a few months ago. I think it was T.I. even mentioned it, which was really weird to me. That's
the
why
missing children at
stayed.
Walmart? Is that who's in it?
Wait, say what?
I said the missing children at Walmart. Is that who's in the burger?
You better shut the hell up.
Listen, but
every time I go to Walmart, it's a bunch of black and brown children plastered to that board. I'm like, why? Every city. I didn't even know they had black people in this town. Why are they all missing? That's why there's no more left. They're all fucking missing.
Shut up. No. What were you going to say, Brandy?
I was going to say T.I.'s been speaking up more lately, even about talked about opening up stuff, and he was like, I know y'all say it's a coincidence, but he's like, no, I call bullshit, basically. Like, they're just trying to kill us. And I'm like, boy, you in the heart of it, so you might want to watch it.
There's
goes to something, you know what I mean?
There's this guy who was speaking on pandemics and things like that may have been a planned event, because he calls it the plandemic. But he talked about what's happening right now 6 years ago. I need y'all to watch that video. It's like 10 minutes long, but it's good. I promise. Like, if you have time, I know you have time. Y'all are bored. Y'all ain't doing nothing.
First of all, I'm working. I have lots of stuff to do. I'm scamming men. I'm working.
Oh.
A single mom at that. I am very busy.
As you
not doing nothing.
As you watch videos all night long.
My grinder's been popping.
Your grinder's been popping.
Grinder is so creepy to me because when I'm like around my friends that use it, so this literally shows you like this person you were talking to is 5 minutes away.
Yeah, Snapchat is like that too. You know that.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's scary. Snapchat, I had to turn my child's thing off. I know you do.
Of course a man would. As a woman, I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's really scary. It's really scary. Speaking of scary, let's talk about Kim Jong-un and his, I guess, heart disease that just went away out of the blue, and he's walking around. Dee was saying something about that, right?
Yeah. So I saw that, I was looking up to see if there was any more confirmation that he had perhaps died.
Right.
And they're like, no, he's not dead. He's right here. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What the weekend adversity is this?
Exactly. So I don't know if it did cross my mind. I'm like, what if that's just like a stunt double or something? You know what I mean? Or
a clone.
Somebody in costume, perhaps a clone, anything like that. Or maybe he was just like self-quarantining. Who knows?
It's just that would be so funny though, because like I said last week, if he was self-quarantined, like, and he got, the CV, like he been shooting all his citizens, like nobody was going to do that to him, huh? Like,
yep. And I think, a lot of the people out there think that he's an immaculate human. Like he doesn't go to the bathroom. He doesn't get sick.
Oh, because he was born on top of the mountain, like he was saying to people. Exactly. By himself, because he's supposed to be godlike or whatever. I was like, boy, they don't get the fuck.
That place is.
But you got uncles and sisters and shit. What the fuck?
Right. So I'm assuming that heart condition, maybe he had complications due to contracting CV, and that could have prolonged his recovery. So yeah, I'm thinking that's probably what happened, and now he's healthy enough to where he could actually walk around. And I hope he's not contagious, because if not, he's spreading it around to people that he's going to end up shooting later.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Speaking of CV, you also said that the CED task force might be dismantling.
Yeah. So they were looking at dismantling the task force already. We're plateauing. We have not declined in a number of cases. Right now, we're at 70,000 deaths, the last I heard. So... yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea. I did hear a rumor that they were talking about letting FEMA take over. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. My stomach
turns when I hear that. Like,
Waffle House.
Waffle House. Yeah, what? Because that Waffle House thing that you were telling me, tell the people about that Waffle House situation.
Okay, let me look up like the real term. Okay, here it is. It's called Waffle House Index. I'm laughing when I say this because I cannot make this shit up. So, Waffle House Index. What is it? I'll tell you. The Waffle House Index is an informal metric named after the Waffle House restaurant chain, and it is used by Federal Emergency Management Agency to determine the effect of a storm or the likely scale of assistance required for disaster recovery. That is a real goddamn thing based on fucking nasty ass Waffle House.
Why Waffle House?
I have no clue.
I feel like IHOP would give a better.
I feel offended like a mug. Like, what's wrong with IHOP? I don't even know like why. All they did was describe it. They didn't even say like why. And then there's levels. There's green, yellow, and red. Green means a full menu. Restaurant has power and damage is limited to no damage at all. Yellow is a limited menu, and red, the restaurant is closed. So right now, if they're closed, it would be red.
I wonder if it's because like Waffle House is no IHOP, obviously.
They're not. And guess where a lot of Waffle Houses are motherfucking located?
Yes, that's what I mean. And that also, if you look at their menu, it is not as abundant as IHOP, right?
No, they're like, you're going to get these waffles, eggs, and maybe some bacon. Here's
so maybe if they can't get basic things at the Waffle House, that is a way to gauge something that's happening around the world.
One person was writing out and they were like, they said the Waffle House test doesn't just tell you how quickly a business might rebound. It also tells us how the larger community is faring. The sooner restaurants, grocery, and corner stores or banks can reopen, the sooner local economies will start generating revenue.
So is this based on weather emergency or?
They say weather or they're saying other emergencies. So initially it was based in weather. So that's why they had the coding going by the damage that the house was taking or if it had power. Now they're entwining this with shit like this. Because of course, I don't think any of us expected that something like this would hit the States in our lifetime.
Everybody's
if it's
like
weather-based, it makes a lot of sense to me now, hearing it, because Waffle House typically tend to be where tornadoes tear shit up. In my experience,
you ain't never lied. That's the truth.
Because here in Las Vegas, the closest Waffle House is in Kingman, Arizona. That's the closest Waffle House you're gonna get to. I've never seen a Waffle House in California that I can remember.
Oh, so wow.
I'm thinking maybe that's why, because Waffle House is so prevalent in the other parts of the country, but here not so much, and we don't get tornadoes here.
Well, I don't know, because we have Waffle Houses down here too. But it's like what I might be with Brandy on this one, where the locations of Waffle Houses are usually in food deserts and subpar economy.
Churches, chickens, and these kind of places are typically not where the Chick-fil-A's or
it's a food desert. Even with the fast food, it's economy based, because if you go, because there's like three, right? Like you either go to Church's Chicken and Waffle House, or you go to Chick-fil-A and IHOP, or you go to Zoe's Kitchen and La Salada. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like different levels depending on the neighborhood. If I see a Zoe's Kitchen,
you won't see a Church Chicken by a Panera.
No. If I see a Panera or Zoe's Kitchen, I know that it's probably a much nicer side of the neighborhood.
Pretty much.
And you know what I'm saying? The gas stations don't have bars on their windows.
Oh, we have glass here. It's glass.
Someone told me that a long time ago when I first got my first house in Florida, and they were like, "You want to know what type of neighborhood you're about to move into? Go to the gas station at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and that's gonna let you know whether you can live there or not." And I was like, "Oh my God."
Yep. If the gas station ain't open at all, don't even bother. If they got bars, be careful. And if they're open with no problem, then you're probably in an okay place. Like
my uncle's old house in a little bit north of downtown here. The inside closes at like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Jesus, get out of there.
It's just a window.
They have one of those little pull doors. Get the fuck out of that neighborhood if you can help it. Yeah. Like that. I mean, I've seen that too. There's parts of San Antonio like that we used to hang at. Remember? That was like that too.
We love danger, don't we?
We sure did. On that note, we're gonna take a quick break.
Isn't that the dog's name?
That's the dog's name.
Danger.
Yeah, that's our dog. Anyway, we'll be right back.
Oh
my God! Disclaimer.
And we're back.
D yawning over here, Brandy pretending she cares. That's awesome.
I got attacked by that yawn. It hit me out of nowhere. I was like, no, we're recording now.
Attacked by that yawn. I'll get your money, I promise.
I also want to talk about how they opened up outside again, but on the second, was it the second? Houston and Atlanta already shut down again. It's just, people, I've already seen articles, like for Texas, especially because that's where I'm at, that they were like, the economy is not boosting or anything. 25% capacity is not going to do anything. You can't bring employees back on that. You can't pay for their wages on that. So no, and also a lot of people really are not going to restaurants still, like to dine in. They're still doing curbside. Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. My brother did tell me that the parks were packed and the stores are packed, like grocery stores are packed, which is just, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if only 2 days of this worked out for Atlanta and Houston, then nobody should be reopening 100% at all.
I say this because I had a customer say it to me on the phone because her daughter's a nurse, and I was like, that's a genius way to gauge when these hospitals start letting people come visit their loved ones that have this, then I'll feel comfortable to hunt and fish and go to the mall and do whatever the fuck everybody else is doing outside. But the fact that people can't even have proper funerals or go see people that are sick at the hospital, that's kind of like the most important thing. So if I can't see somebody that caught this in the hospital, I don't need to be out any fucking where else.
I don't either.
Else is important.
It was weird that I saw the VP of the US visiting people where everybody else in the fucking scene was wearing the mask, but he was not.
He did it? Yo,
I was very
like, what the fuck?
Bothered by it. Because I was like, dude, is it like an episode of, I can't remember if it was Family Guy or The Simpsons, probably The Simpsons, where they already have like the cure ready for the elites, but not for us kind of deal. Yeah. Just, you know what I mean? Because I was like, wow, he's really in a room full of people with masks on and he's just out here shaking hands and no mask. Like, or is it because he's like super religious? Because I know he is, like, and he's gonna pray it away.
I mean, we had some of our military buddies tell us that they were getting a lot of shots out of nowhere and not a lot of explanations.
Oh, yeah.
One of our people did say
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
about that, damn.
And is that because if they do have to go into certain FEMA martial law or anything in that nature, it might not be actual martial law, but if they have to use people to control the mass, like, if they get out of control, they don't want them getting sick. So they got their shots first. Because I don't think they would give so many people in the military that many shots and not be prepared, because that's our first line of defense, and they don't want to be have a weak military from other countries and stuff like that. But I'm not sure. I like Brandy said, and like you said, D, I'm not going nowhere until the hospitals are like cool with letting people see each other, because something's up. And then meanwhile, there's a viral video of this lady shopping at some store where she hands the clerk something, and she's wearing a mask, but she has like her nose and mouth area cut out in the mask, but she's wearing it. And the clerk is like, oh, where'd you get that mask? Like, he's being sarcastic, and it's so funny. And she's like, oh, I had this, but it's so hard to breathe. So I just cut a hole around the nose and the mouth, and it's so much easier. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll look into that. And she's like, all right, have a good day. Like, she's so oblivious to, like, everything. And the fact that it's like that everywhere is... let's talk about, like, because of that, let's talk about these riots that are happening. They're not calling it riots. I'm sorry, protests.
Yeah,
because they're Caucasian.
They're not rioters. Now, if they were a bit more tan, we're gonna have to spray you with a hose.
Because here's the thing. I saw a video of one of the protesters spit into the face of a cop, and no one got arrested. No one got taken down. No one got beat. No one was handled in any kind of way. And I know that we've seen comments online when we post shit like that. People are like, oh, it's not because of race. It's not. It is.
They try to debate that, and even that's racial, because I've never heard a Black person say that stuff. It's always someone who's not Black that's like, well, there's this one time in history, so that means everything you're saying right now doesn't count. Because I found this one other incident that's
bad.
And I'm like, you are just all about anything to be right. And that's just so insensitive and so fucking crazy. But also in the same sense, that's what the fuck we be talking about. Because a girl that was standing there with her hands like this, being ran up on by full grown ass men.
Right.
Team riot gear. When I want to say when Ferguson, maybe that was either Ferguson or it was one of those protests that happened in the heat of Black Lives Matter and everything popping off. For her to get ran up on like that, for these people to be tackled to the ground, and they're not doing anything but saying we're not going to move, or doing the mall synods that would happen a lot around St. Louis at that time, at that time. The aggression that we're met with has just been for years, and for anybody to act like it's not a race thing, it's just not going to help fix the problem. It's not.
I won't ever understand it.
They're trained that way, I'm more than sure, to view us as more of a threat. Media doesn't help with how we're depicted.
You know, you're right. You know how I know they're trained that way? Because Black cops do it to Black people too. I'm just gonna say it. Like, I just watched a video of a younger Black cop try to talk down to this Black guy who had his 2 teenage sons in the car. And he like smashed the ID out of his hand and all of this other stuff. And he was like, what you're not going to do is, I'm like, man, so like, you know, you're not Black anymore. You're blue. If you're blue, you're blue. That's what it is.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with whether you're I'm sure there's people who are in there that might have been like, I may have made a mistake joining this situation, because to me they're like a gang right now in a lot of places and whatever. And you know, I'm not saying all cops are bad again, but it seems that a lot of cops think that all Black people are fucking criminals. So I mean, I rather assume,
even the hashtag on Twitter with my white privilege that was going around, and they were literally sharing all these stories of times they were able to get off, where the cops caught them in positions where I'm like, yo ass should have been to jail, and they got let off with a warning for DUIs, for not having a license or a license plate, for running from a cop. And I'm like, I watched a video where somebody was shot because they ran from a cop.
Yeah. And like, I have personally experienced something similar, because I was in Nebraska going to a wedding with 2 white guys in the car and me. And I was kind of like sitting in the, you know, the middle console from the back, because they were in the front, the driver and the passenger. And I was like mixing drinks. Don't do it, kids. I was really young and stupid. Don't do it. We were drinking, going to this wedding, getting pumped up. And like, I guess his foot got heavy, so he was speeding on the highway as well, because we were going to Iowa for this wedding from Nebraska. And the only thing the cop did, he goes, whoop, whoop, slow down. That was it. That's all we got. I know why that's all we got. They didn't see me. I was probably too light to be pulled over anyway. And then they saw 2 white dudes. That's all they saw. They didn't see me in the back. I know they didn't.
Coming back from Detroit, coming back from a Lizzo concert like last year or the year before that. Everybody, there was a mixed girl in the car and a white guy, and the other one was he looked kind of Middle Eastern to me, but could pass just in demeanor, and the mixed girl kind of passed too. So I was the only undeniably, you know, Black person in the car.
Right.
And of course I'm driving. So normally, and now I haven't been pulled over for speeding before, but normally in a situation people are pulled over and whatnot, they're, especially for speeding, you're not really asked to get out the car and get pat down and all this stuff. I had to get out the car. I was pat down. He was like, well, the only reason I was asked to get out the car because I smelled alcohol. And I was like, I'm the DD. They were drinking. I wasn't.
Right. They're not gonna believe you though.
I'm super sober right now. I was sitting in the police car while he ran everything. I was literally going through this for about 30 minutes. And of course, you know, I was on my best brown girl behavior.
Of course.
And he was like asking me a lot of questions. And I think hindsight, you were asking a lot of questions just to like try to trip me up.
Of course. That's what they do.
So I can have a full ass conversation. You'll ask me to stop talking before I ask you to stop talking.
Right.
He's like, oh, your record, like, you don't like have one. And I was like, yeah, not a criminal. I was literally,
no, but you look like one.
right. I'm like, I'm just trying to get home. So after that experience, I definitely felt like gross I felt violated. I'm like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have gotten pat down. I shouldn't have had to sit in the back of your car as long as I did. I think it would have been a different situation if everybody in that car was, you know, the same hue, but not me.
Yeah, that
first
part.
one for me was it was the day after Christmas.
Oh Lord.
And I was at my grandma's house here it wasn't in Las Vegas. This was in North Las Vegas, of course, because they have I'm not even gonna get into that. So it was the day after Christmas. My little cousin had just gotten a brand new ATV for Christmas. So he was begging to ride it all Christmas Day. My grandma was like, no, you can't ride it right now. Next day, he was begging to ride it. She was like, you can ride it if somebody older goes with you. So, of course, that meant me.
Yeah.
At the time, I was about 21, 22-ish. So there was where my grandma's house was at the time. Next door, there was not next door, but the next plot of land over. It was just this huge vacant lot. And of course, we're in Vegas, so it's a desert. Just an open desert. So I was like, well, we can go to the lot next door. It's fine. I see people riding ATVs in Vegas all the time, so I didn't think it was against town ordinance in North Las Vegas, but it was. So I'm standing there watching my little cousin ride his ATV, and I have a 17-year-old with me too. Standing there with my cigarette. I see a cop car at the intersection. Yeah. The cop drove up over the sidewalk
because they saw you
into the desert.
Oh my God.
Really fast toward me. I'm like, that was unnecessary, but okay. So the cops, it's two cops. They get out the car. They're like, put your cigarette out. I'm like, okay. So I flicked it. They're like, come over here. All you guys put your hands on the car.
What?
I was like, does he have to put his hands on the car? He's like 11. He's like, no, he needs to put his hands on the car too. I was like, okay. So we put our hands on the car. They went through all of our pockets. And you could tell one was more seasoned cop, the other one was a rookie. The rookie was looking like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I could see the look on his face. He was like, I'm assuming this is like a family thing, right? And I was like, yeah, very much so. Like, I was sitting out here by my grandmother to watch this little 11-year-old that you're making put his hands on the car, watching him ride his ATV. And then the guy was like, yeah, it's like a family thing. And the other cop was like, all right, so I'm going to need to see all your IDs. I was like, he's 11. He doesn't have an ID. Yeah. Took my ID, ran my name. He was like, oh, well, what do you do for a living? I was like, I work at Caesar's Palace. I'm a guest services agent. He's like, oh, well, what does he do for a living? Or he asked my 17-year-old cousin. Like, he's 17. He's in high school. Like, what the fuck?
It's because it's Brandy said it before, and I think I have too. I don't know what it is about. It's really weird that we all look younger, but they assume us older.
Older, yeah.
What is that? I don't understand it. Like, if you told me Brandy was like 24, I would believe her, but they would assume that, you know what I mean? Like, that she's
even like, the thing is, that hits more. We don't get to be kids. That's the thing.
That part.
We are adults. We get the benefit of, we all look like we're in our 20s, even though we're not. But we don't get that luxury, especially it seems like stateside and out from under that umbrella of the safety of a military base or what have you, especially overseas. Because it's one thing military base stateside, it's another thing overseas. So it's just, we grew up different. Yeah. So coming back to the States and just hearing what people hear and seeing it, and even having the talks with my son, because I'm like, in a few years, or even now, some people aren't looking at you like you're just 13. Now, for some reason, when there's already that black is bad, the darker, the worse, you as a child, you're already like a man. I think it's even worse with, well, not even worse, it's just different. Like, the young ladies are over-sexualized. So a young lady or these victims of R. Kelly, they had to want it. They were just being fast. The white girls don't get to be fast and just, they're victims. We're fast and wanted it. Same thing with these young black men. They're thugs at a young age. They can't play with BB guns and none of the stuff like their counterparts can. They can't just be hanging out at a Starbucks. They can't just be walking around in groups of twos because,
that's too many. I mean,
you don't get that same thing. And from Emmett Till, and I'm sure it's gone like longer than that.
Oh, yeah.
We're already looking at, okay, as soon as they can have some type of like comprehension, they're going to rape, they're going to steal, they're going to murder. And around that time when your brain is developing as an adolescent, that's when it's like, boom, Now they're an adult. So now we're going to charge them with this. We're going to hit them with that. They don't even get to make the same stupid mistakes as
Isn't that the craziest shit? Like,
they can get caught with some real drugs and some real bullshit. The fact that that young kid who was really raping bitches in college or high school or something got off.
Oh, we're not even going to go there. Listen.
We can never.
No, the guy who ate his neighbor's faces
and
killed them. Killed his neighbors and killed them. And they were white, too. Killed them. They were like, oh, well, he was obviously very damaged. And
listen.
Excuse after excuse after fucking
When they stop playing the fucking mental card, I'll stop playing the brown and black card.
Right. And then I'm like, if you're going to say that we're victims or we're always playing a card, how are you not? How are you not?
They are, but they don't want to own up to the same reason why the protesters, quote unquote, which I think are rioters because they're fucking armed, get away with what they're doing.
Call them what you call us. They're thugs.
I mean, how can they not be? They up there with fucking weapons in their faces, yelling and screaming.
Yeah, right. Even without the weapons, I'm like, the fact that you could get that close
and not say anything. I've never seen like black protesters ever get that close to the cops before they were arrested.
You won't.
We could never. Because
they already have that fear in them of us.
It's so crazy.
They're not afraid of each other like that. You saw that. There were protesters that were getting bottled waters and shit.
Oh, shit.
I saw pictures of that.
No, are you serious?
I was like, okay.
Well, we don't want them dehydrated. The sun is a little bit harsher on them. So it's just so weird to me that, you know, and obviously, like when we talk about these people, we're not talking about everybody, but there are a good group of people who are against any type of brown or black person rising above and beyond. So those are the people we're talking about, just to be clear. Before we go,
like genetic though, that fear, because I have a friend whose wife I know is very pro everybody should have like equal rights and people should be treated fairly. But she admitted one time when she was at a gas station and some brothers rolled up to the car, she immediately felt like very scared, like they were going to do something. And I said, well, keep it real with me. If they were white, would you have felt that way? And she was like, she was about to cry because it was literally just.
Yeah, because she didn't understand why she felt like that.
She was like, oh my God, I wouldn't have felt that way. And it turns out, bitch, they was coming to you because the owner basically was telling you, hey, you can't park there because we're actually doing construction over. We were trying to tell you because this is our property. We're running.
Right.
This. We're telling you can't do this, but you're not used to seeing us own stuff. You're not used to seeing us, like, I guess, in a light that doesn't represent danger to you. And I really feel like a lot of that is spiritual. And I feel like it's genetically passed down because, like they like to throw in our face sometimes, so many of them did not grow up in the same way that was laid out hundreds of years ago. But it's like, but why do y'all still feel that way then? Why do y'all still look at us like that then? And where does it come from? You know what I mean? And it's like, I think sometimes it's the fear of y'all know how y'all treated us and y'all are waiting for the get back.
Can you imagine if we were like them?
Oh.
That's something to be scared of.
Raping the women, doing whatever with the men, and then forcing you to work for little to nothing, and then separating your families just for funsies.
Nah, just crazy.
And let's do that for hundreds of years. And then when we let you go, let you get to be a small space of time to still fight for equal rights. And then set up other systems to keep you held back too.
Yeah.
Then every time you complain about it, let's still make it your fault.
Pretty much.
That's it. You know. Back to the news though.
The news. We get so fired up about this shit. We got a few minutes left, but before we go, let's get on in this a little lighter stuff. Tyra Banks and the new generation of Gen Z's and stuff. So what's going on? She's getting fucking canceled. I hate this cancel culture.
She's getting canceled. It was funny because somebody else was like, do you remember Tyra crying? Sorry, it's not funny, but it is. Do you remember her crying about how mean Naomi Campbell was to her?
Yeah.
Tried to force. I didn't realize how toxic this was because I love that word. That's a buzzword now. Didn't realize how toxic that was until I got older. And I was like, you tried to force another grown-ass woman to feel bad about something that she has every right to not feel bad about or feel bad about on national TV. Because Naomi was looking like, I didn't know I was even going to be in this position. Like, because she was like, I don't know if you remember, but a long time ago when I was an 18-year-old model, and Naomi is looking like, nigga, what the fuck is going on?
She threw her ass under that bus.
There's all these clips coming up of what was it called? America's Next Top Model.
Yes.
And there's Tyra used to do things like make a white person black, so basically blackface, to force them to look like a different ethnicity for a show, a photo shoot. We were definitely not as fired up about it, but these newer kids or younger than us are definitely wanting her canceled. There was also a time she basically told a young lady, because of the size of her gap, that she was not going to be as marketable and she wasn't going to win. And of course she, won. But somebody pointed out something so lovely about that clip, and I'm going to play it. If I can pull it up quick enough.
Get it as close to your speaker as you can, because it's kind of
but they were basically saying that that girl was not allowed to have a gap because in the industry that they're operating in, basically being a black model is your quirk. That's quirky enough. You don't get to be a black model with a gap. Because I'm like, well, that girl, what was her name? Because she coined the term heroin chic. She had a gap, didn't she? Like Kate Moss?
Kate Moss.
Kate Moss, Madonna. I'm thinking about these big figures that have gaps that are white and they're more than marketable. So again, this is perpetuating that stereotype of if you're white, you can have anything going for you or not going for you. As black, we can't do that. You don't get to be black and have a gap
and I think they took all of that out of context, like what you're saying with the gap thing, or even back in the day, she was one of the first ones to do a plus size model contest too. I don't know if people remember, and one of the first ones to do one where there were males as well and transgender people and all of that. She was ahead of her time, but what she was trying to say was that the industry was so hell-bent on keeping its traditions, which is mainly white skinny girls, in the forefront, that anything outside of that box would be very hard to market. She didn't lie. She wasn't saying that out of hate. I really don't believe that.
No, that's why I was bothered by people saying they're trying to cancel her, because I'm like, Tyra was pimping. That's just real. And she was trying to put y'all on game. Like, look, if y'all gonna be my hoes, I'm gonna let you know how it is right here. I'd rather tell you than some agent that doesn't really give a fuck about you, because they don't know what it's like to operate through here and be black, especially with as close as she was to her mom through her modeling career. So she wasn't really handled in a way a lot of those girls are. If you're sent off to LA or Paris or something, you don't have no family around you and the industry just handles you. But I don't think that she was trying to say that really at all.
And I think people also forgot. Did you find the clip? Go ahead.
So Danielle, you went to the dentist, but you refused to have your gap closed. Do you really think you can have a CoverGirl contract with a gap in your mouth? Yeah, why not? This is all people see. It's Easy Reads Beautiful CoverGirl. It's not marketable.
Yeah, just a little bit is okay, but I don't want to completely close it.
Well, I guess she just left the gap wide open for another girl, baby.
I agree. So Danielle.
And it's
that extra commentary at the end was
that was Miss J. That was Miss J.
Yeah, Jay was messy.
It was. He was. But here's the thing. Like, I think people forgot where she was coming from too. Not only was she a black model, she was also the model where she said herself, she was like, I had such a forehead, like more than any of the other models. You know what I mean? Considering how curvy she was compared next to like a Kate Moss model back in the 90s and 2000s. Like, do you remember where she had to get on?
Illustrated was a big deal.
Yeah, when she got on that show that she was doing and she had to defend her swimsuit photos that somebody took.
It was a blue one because she wore it up there because they were basically like, you fat as hell.
Yeah, and she was like, I'm not 14 anymore. Like when I started modeling, I'm like 20 something. My body is not going to stay that way.
Like a solid, tight, probably 10. I'm like,
solid.
I'm like, girl. Yeah, that's when she told him to kiss her fat ass.
Yeah, she did. She did. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think people forgot where she came from also and what TV shows do to get ratings, and not, it's not always something that they always believe in what they're saying either. A lot of that shit really is scripted. Like, they're not making, like, she's not the one making up some of that stuff. You know what I mean? Right. She's just being told to say stuff. And back in the day, there was a lot of that going on. I mean, nobody had a problem with the Hills, though, but they talking about this shit. Can we bring that back? Like, that whole shit was scripted.
It was so scripted. Me and my ex-husband, fun fact, we actually used to like love that, and he loved it more than me. And I was getting into it because of him, and I went from being like, this shit is bullshit to, oh my God, Justin Bobby.
Justin Bobby.
That's how you know he was really watching that shit. I'm like, this is just nothing but some privilege, baby. Ooh,
it really was. That's all we watched was privilege.
Like, how old are they? They're as old as us and just running around Paris and running around LA. And I'm like, y'all ain't got no bills. Y'all ain't got nothing going on.
They ain't got nothing. They ain't got nothing. But you know, it's craziness. I like watching it though when they're just reruns. It just reminds me of my early 20s. I'm like, oh, I used to watch this shit on MTV.
Is that the one with the lady named Lauren?
Yes, Lauren Conrad. Yes.
Lauren Conrad.
Yes.
You remember when she was working for that art place?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You remember when I thought I was going for an interview for that when I was living in California?
Yeah.
Yo. I'm going to be like Lauren Conrad. Nah, bro.
No, not your black ass.
Nah, you want to know what happened to me?
What happened?
So they said I was going to be showcasing artwork, and I was like, what? Yeah, hell yeah. So they called me in for an interview.
Uh-huh.
I was like, okay, great. So I'll pull up to this warehouse, and like, okay, we have all the artwork in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, great. And they're like, okay, well, if you don't mind, you're going to jump in the car with us.
Yes.
And we're going to start.
Yes.
You're going to shadow us, and if you like it, we'll see. I was like, hell the fuck yeah, let's go. So I jump in the SUV with this dude, right?
Uh-huh.
And we drive.
Oh no.
To Valencia, California,
uh-huh.
where we started. Started in Valencia. We ended up in like Agora Hills somewhere. So we're like in the hill, you know, not the hills, the valley. It's the valley.
Valley. Yeah.
The valley. So first place we pulled up was to a school. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking we're gonna do a presentation at the school. So he grabbed some of the pictures out and we walk into the office and he asked the ladies working in the office who supplies their artwork.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, we don't really have suppliers. It's just comes from the school district. And they're like, okay, well, we have these pictures here. This one's 40. This one's 35. I was like, shut the fuck up. You want to know where we went to next?
Where?
Wingstop. We went to Wingstop and we're walking through Wingstop while people are trying to eat their wings. And he's like, this one's 40. This one's 35.
Those are the guys who try to sell. That's like the guys who, like the McDonald's or Burger King, you see those real cheesy like pictures and stuff that are up in the fucking dining area. That's what you were selling.
Yeah, that's what I was selling.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
No, the only person who bought something that day, because I was stuck. Because I left my car was in 5 cities away.
Wow.
The only person that bought something was the cashier at Wingstop.
Wow.
He was like, oh, that would look good in my apartment. Yeah, how much is it?
Oh, no.
She bought it for $40.
You hustled some fake paintings. That's what it was. That's really it for the news. But before we go, I just wanted to shout out my friend's GoFundMe account. I had a friend pass away over the weekend. It's to help his family that's left behind, his wife and his 2 kids. I'm going to add the link at the end of our episode, like on the, I guess, all of the info that we have where we put our Gmail and all of that in there. I don't know what happened to D. He just
can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. We can't see you. I don't know what happened. But if you guys can, please give and support. If you can. If not, even sharing the link would be very helpful. But if you enjoyed listening to us, please make sure to subscribe to any of your favorite platforms for podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you like and comment, hit the notification bell. The what now? The what? I don't know why D always points down. It's so funny because
that's what the bell is.
Oh, okay.
You know what you're doing.
The bell's like that way, I think, somewhere. I don't know.
I don't never know what side I'm going to be on.
45-degree angle. Shut up.
Like this.
Are you sure? Or what if it's
But if you enjoy our news angle, please make sure to check out our oh Lord, check out our triangle episode that drops on Thursdays as well. The news angle is 9 a.m. Central every Monday. The triangle episode is Thursdays at noon Central as well. Make sure you guys stay safe. Keep your ass at home. It ain't safe outside. Outside ain't open yet. Just pretend that it's not open. Don't go nowhere.
You gotta pretend it's not.
Don't go nowhere. If they gotta put plastic curtains up in Atlanta to get your nails done, it's not safe, guys. Just so you
ain't safe.
Get press-ons. You ain't going nowhere anyway. So, anyways, stay woke, stay blessed, and stay safe and logical. We'll talk with you later. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.